Hey everyone, today I'm going to be swatching and doing a makeup look using the Feminist palette by Shacki Cosmetics. This is such a beautiful, unique palette. They are an indie brand and they did send this palette to me, but I just said that I would do like a review and stuff like that. So it was sent to me, but all my thoughts are my own, and I'm just going to be telling you guys about the palette, swatching it, and doing a little mini makeup look with this palette. So if you want to see my thoughts on this gorgeous palette, just keep watching. Now that you guys have seen the swatches of this beautiful palette, let's talk about it. So you get 18 eyeshadows. The majority of them are like metallics, which typically would upset me, but because of the quality of these eyeshadows, I actually don't mind. And I like the variety of colors in the mattes, like because you have like a lighter transition shade, you have an orange, you have a green, you have a darker brown, you have like a little bit of a burgundy, you have a purple. So I feel like you have colors that'll go with every shimmer in this palette. That being said, like, I would prefer more mattes, but that's just my personal preference. The quality of these shimmers and metallics are stunning, so for the most part, I'm fine with it. Do I think that there could have been a few more mattes? Yes, but again, that's personal preference. It does come with a mirror as well, and as for the packaging, it's absolutely stunning. The artwork is beautiful. I love it so much. I absolutely adore this brand. I saw them on Instagram and I was like, I love what you guys are doing. So I'm very excited for this palette. This palette swatched great. Honestly, I had no issues whatsoever. As you guys can see, most of the metallics are truly metallic and blinding, which is what I want in a metallic. There are definitely different formulas in this palette. Like, you have your normal mattes and then you have normal metallics. But then you have like shades that are like metallic chunky type shades. They're very interesting. I feel like I'd have to try them on the lid to figure them out a little bit more, but for the most part I do really like the shimmers in this palette. Surprisingly, the shade that surprised me was the shade Selena. In the pan it looks like this blue, and I expected it to be one of those like blue brown shades, but it actually is pretty unique. It has like a very like burgundy red base to it, which is very unique to blue brown shades. Typically it's just like a brown shade and I'm not a big fan of them, but this one I could definitely see myself using. I think it's absolutely stunning. On video does not do it justice. It's so pretty. As for the other shades in the look I did, I used the shade Ava, which is this like silvery shade all over the lid, and I really enjoyed that. When I swatched Amara, I fell in love because it's just this very intense like yellowy gold. I think that would be so pretty paired with really any of the shades in this palette. For me, I feel like this palette would be perfect to do cut creases with because you have so many varieties of different shades. Pigmentation is surely not lacking in this. Whenever you try an indie brand, you really don't know what the quality is going to be like. For the most part, indie brands have really been stepping up their game, and this is definitely one of them. I am in love with the formulas. There are a few eyeshadows that I'm not the biggest fan of, but for the most part, I am in love with this palette and the formulas. I also truly love the names in this palette. I think it's such a nice touch. Personally, if we're going to go through my favorite shades, I really like Ava, Chanel, Amara, Selena, and Blake the most. Those are definitely the shades that I would say are my favorites. That being said, I do like most of the shades in this palette. This palette does retail for $43 US, which is a little bit on the pricier side, but the formula I definitely think is worth it in my opinion. And I think the color story is really unique. I haven't seen a palette do it quite like this. I like the variety of shades and I like how well they go together. In the look I did, I really liked how the shades blended and how the cut crease worked out. So I'm happy with this palette. It's very pretty and it's unique. I definitely think that recently I've been looking for more unique palettes since I have so many eyeshadow palettes that if I'm going to buy a palette, I want it to be unique or have some sort of meaning to me. And I like the meaning behind the palette, and I also like the unique color story, so I'm happy with it. This is also one of those palettes where you could do a one and done eyeshadow look. You could do a two and go eyeshadow look. Like, there are so many options in this palette, I feel like, in my opinion. Personally though, if we're going to talk about the shades that I'm not the biggest fan of, Lauren is one of them. It's this like duochrome. It's pretty, but it's not pigmented enough in my opinion. So it's definitely not my favorite. It's a little bit more chunky, not smooth, and it's definitely more of a satin, but it's not awful. It's just not a shade I would reach for. Same with Adelaida. I'm so sorry if I butchered these names. That is definitely one that I'm not a fan of. It's just very chunky and there's not a lot of base color to it. Besides that, I do think it's pretty, but it was just a little bit of a bummer. That being said, again, overall, I'm really happy with this palette. I think it is stunning. It's really pretty, and I think it's fun and unique. I definitely don't really have a ton of issues with this palette. There are definitely shades I like more than others, but for the most part, there's only like 2 shades that I'm not the biggest fan of, so I definitely think that that speaks volumes on how nice this palette is. And I have used it on my eyes, and I love how it performed. I think it performed beautifully. I love how the look turned out. So I'm happy with this palette, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, comment down below any videos you'd like to see me do. Go follow my Instagram and TikTok, Makeup by Tasha XO, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.